Hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode 32, breaking a Topps 1971 Series 2 vending box. 32 is the number worn by all the MVPs in 1963, other than one, Lance Allworth, between the major leagues and the NFL. So we were going to do a 1963 set breakdown, but I've already done that in one of the previous episodes. So instead, we're just going to randomly choose 1972 and go through that set after we do our breaking about a pack's worth of cards from the 72 vending box. Here's some of the highlights of cards we've gotten so far, getting through over 400 of the cards. So we're going to pick that many. Let's get one more. Go through that many cards today. Starting off with a checklist card. Never real exciting, but there it is. We get a Buck Martinez. Looks like some nice centering there, nice color, good corners. That's a good card. Bob Tillman. We've ended up with some real nice cards on. This one's a little more off center. Got a Stan Bonson, the Yankee aces of the time. Phil Hennigan. This looks like a well-centered card. Great corners, so that's a nice card. Ed Herman, big tough catcher. So as I'm getting down here, I am thinking more and more that I'm probably gonna try seeing what happens sending some of these off for grading, probably through SCG. And I thought I'd probably send some of my Hall of Famers. I've never sent cards in for grading, but I might break my habit and go ahead and see what happens. And thinking of maybe with my Hall of Fame collection, it's probably good to have a lot of those cards graded anyway, so maybe send some of those at the same time. This is a cool card with Boog Powell, Frank Robinson greeting him after a home run. Got a Cecil Upshaw. And a Billy Wilson. No big names so far out of this one. And the last card is Cal Kuntz, again off-centered, as all the Cal Kuntzes have been. So that's what we got in the break. Nothing too great, so other than some real nice condition cards, which is always pretty cool. So let's go through and take a look. I think we're going to do first three series of the 72 Topps set. So Pirates winning it all there in 71 with Clemente having that great World Series. Enzo Hernandez, is that the year? He had 12 RBIs with 549 at-bats. Probably about the least number of RBIs of somebody over 500 at-bats ever. Anyway, 1972 was the year before I started collecting, the year before I started bringing packs. So I would have been in first grade when these cards came out. And that fall of 72, which I guess would have been my second grade, I had a classmate move in, ended up becoming my best friend. And we played a lot of baseball together, big-time baseball guy like I was. And I remember on a bus after Rico Patricelli there, good card. Billy Martin. This was the year of the inaction cards. So 71 was the first year they actually put inaction cards right in, mixed with the cards. But 72, the regular cards weren't inaction cards, but they gave a lot of the star players inaction cards like Yaz, as you can see there. But anyway, I remember riding the bus with was going to become new friend. I think it was first or second day into release time, which we had on Wednesdays to go to like a church school. And he pulled out some 72 cards out of his coat pocket. And look at this, they're right next to each other here. Willie Mays in action. and then the Herman Killebrew in action. So 500, actually, when these guys retired, Mays was number 3 on the all-time list and Killebrew number 5 on the all-time list, and there they are, right next to each other in card number. But anyway, he pulled out some 72 cards out of his coat pocket, and man, I was just so amazed. And I remember trying to get my mom to go to the grocery store and see if we could find some cards, and by that time of year, it was probably November. Could not find any. Too bad we couldn't, because they probably would have been high numbers if we had. But then that next year, starting that spring, I was ready and started getting cards in 73. But 72, these cards, I always thought just looked really cool. Kind of perfect for the era. There's a good shortstop in Campy Campaneris. Kind of fit in with that Partridge Family, Brady Bunch vibe. There's this is probably the top rookie, Carlton Fisk, Cecil Cooper on that rookie card. My 72 set's got some pretty nice corners and actually decent centering, most of those cards. There's Perez, Hall of Famer. But anyway, fits in kind of that Partridge Family, Brady Bunch, which were my favorite shows at the time, watching. And they, those shows always showed, I don't know, they had, it seems like especially Brady Bunch should have, Wes Parker, Don Drysdale, Deacon Jones, Joe Namath were all guest stars. There you see these leaders cards. And Guerin's still on leaders cards, getting towards the end of his career. Willie Stargell, Joe Torre was an MVP that year in 71, so he's what do you have? Batting leader and the RBI leader. We got Tom Seaver. Seaver didn't win Cy Young in 71, but look at that. He led the league in ERA, led the league in strikeouts, and he still had 20 wins. But that was back in the day. If he would have been pitching now, they would have given it to him. But back in that day, Fergie Jenkins won 24 games, so he ended up getting the Cy Young. Vita Blue had that great year, got both Cy Young and MVP. As a 21-year-old, ended up turning 22 towards the end of the year, but over 300 strikeouts, a 180-something ERA, 24-8 record. Just phenomenal season, kind of emerging, and that was when the A's were starting to go. And here's the guy who was 4th all-time in home runs when he retired, Frank Robinson, also in that first series. So, pretty good series. But, yeah, Brady Bunch, cool show. Always like watching all those boys action. Kind of had a crush probably on Jan Brady at the time. And Alice was always fun to watch. Look at those sideburns. Mudcat Grant. Bill Buckner's first regular card. Greg Luzinski, first regular card too. Was on a 71 with another player, but he would have been a big-time prospect at that time. Bill Freehan, really good catcher. Dave Cash, emerging second baseman there. Duffy Dyer. Part of that 71 Pirates team. There's a Joe Morgan and Bob Gibson right next to each other there. Gibson was my favorite pitcher growing up. Intimidating, great fastball. Vada Pinson, kind of what they did with the cards then, painted those hats when he came from Cleveland to California. Left him in the Indians jersey, but I don't know what about that hat. Dick Williams, this is the year before. 72 is actually the year, so these pictures are probably from 71. There's Chris Chambliss, rookie card. Some good pictures. There's some John Matlack and Buzz Capper ended up winning an ERA crown. Pat Dobson was one of those in 71, one of those 420-game winners for the Orioles. Good shortstop in Kessinger. Rookie card there, Dave Kingman. Had some 40-homer years, like a 48-homer year. Gene Kleins. Anyway, there's Simmons, second card. Larry Dierker, first he came up at the age of 17. Ended up with some really good years. Gullett was a real good young pitcher. Nasser Smith. You got Darrell Porter's rookie card. great reliever there. Tug McGraw, father of the country singer. What's his name with Faith Hill? And we got Chris Spire, good shortstop. Got an inaction card. There's Vita Blues. That'd be his third card, but that coming off that great year. And so 72, Oakland A's, that was, you know, they were in the playoffs in 71. They won over 100 games, 71, but 72 was the year that they won the first of their 3 straight World Series. Doc Ellis. So Ellis was the pitcher in the one game, the Pirates that year in 71. All 9 players were black in the lineup, which was the first time that ever happened. It was a game Doc Ellis was their pitcher. Crane Pool. See if I could name them all. They had Manny Sanguillen would have been catching. Al Oliver played first. Skates Brown. Rennie, I think Dave Cash must have been at second, and was Rennie Stennett maybe at short, unless Jackie Hernandez was playing. One of them was probably at third. So I'm not sure which one's second, short, third. And then their outfield would have been Clemente in right, Gene Klein's in center, and Willie Stargell in left. Charlie Huff, the knuckleballer. We're in the second series right now. Here's the Lou Brock. Nice card. First DH ever, Ron Bloomberg. The guy traded for Frank Robinson. Bill Pappas. Denny McLain, unfortunately, with that 30-game season, another real good Cy Young season, and then he ended up with arm troubles. Alex Johnson won a batting crown. He kind of fell off pretty quick, too. Nuxie's brother Joe was also a Nuxie. There's Rennie Stennett. And here, Jim Perry he had a Cy Young season right around there. Then here's those these are first the playoff cards. So Pirates beating the Giants, and Orioles beat the A's that year. And the Orioles were considered the favorites by far. They had those 69, 70, 71, all big-time over 100-win seasons. This year is the year they had the 4 20-game win pitchers. Got Brooks Robinson with Belanger in the background there. And they jumped out. And this was a really good World Series. There's Roberto Clemente on the Game 4, and he was the World Series MVP that year. Manny Sanguillen going high in the air with Frank Robinson. That's really cool. I didn't realize that before. That's Frank Robinson sliding under him. That's a cool card. And I think that's Steve Blass. And then Manny Sanguillen and the Pirates celebrating a 2-1 championship. Game 7 win. Clemente was the MVP. Had, I think, 12 hits, a couple homers out of there. Made some great throws from right field. Dick Allen. There's Raleigh Fingers. 72 was the year that Charlie Finley, the owner of the A's, gave a $300 bonus to anybody who would grow a mustache. So that was Fingers pre-mustache. Steve Braun, rookie card there. He was one of my favorite players. And so these 72 cards, you're going to see them. There's Boog Powell. You're going to see all these A's players without mustaches on the cards. But by the 73 cards, which is their 72 season, most of them grew mustaches so they could get that bonus. George Foster, early in his career. Sparky Lyle. Ralph Garr. I think he hit 343 that year. Yep. 219 hits. And then a couple years after that, won a batting title hitting 350 something. He's a guy stepped way in the bucket when he batted, but just had a lot of speed, beat out a lot of balls. But I saw there he also had 9 home runs, so he had a little power to go with it. Tommy John before Tommy John surgery. Young. There's the Brady Bunch star. He dated one of Greg Brady's teachers. Jim Palmer. The the underwear, all advertiser. Was also a phenomenal pitcher. Mick the Quick. Mock. Cesar Tovar. Play everywhere guy. Good fielder. Larry Brown. Shortstop. Here's a future 500 home run guy. Willie McCovey. Future 300 win guy. And Gaylord Perry. Jeter. Young Hal McRae. Sonny Siebert was a good pitcher. There's McRae, got an action card. Dick Dietz, catcher. Claude Osteen was a good pitcher. And then others. So we're in Series 3 here with Hank Aaron. And I actually just saw, there was a, was it Heritage or REA? One of the recent auctions had a, and I was tempted, a 72 Topps Vending Series 3 box. And so Series 3's got these latest guys we saw in it. Hank Aaron and a Hank Aaron in action. And coming up, another big, real big player. Might be almost the two best cards in the set. Aaron and this guy, Roberto Clemente, and that's coming off his MVP World Series. And that's just a cool card. I don't know, I've always liked the looks of that card. So those guys with their inactions, I don't know why they'd show an inaction. Looks like he got a called strike that he didn't really like. Kind of a funny card to put on, but you got an Aaron, Clemente, you got an Aparicio, you got a few other good guys in there. So that vending box was in an auction, and I can't remember the exact amount it went for. It was with the 20% buyer fee. It was nine or over 9,000 that it went for. Very tempting, but I don't know if I would have probably got in trouble if I'd have bid up that and bought that. Steve Blass, that's a World Series hero, and that's before his Steve Blass disease where he just couldn't throw strikes anymore. Ended up being a good announcer, as was Steve Stone. Jim Hunter, there's also Catfish before his mustache days. Bobby Grich, could make a case for him maybe being in the Hall of Fame. He was on I did the all-time top second baseman a couple times ago. He was on my top 15 list. You got Seaver and Stargell for Hall of Famers there that made their boyhood cards. I think we're running towards the end here of Series 3, which is where we're going to stop. So, Bob Watson, Sparky Anderson, Dave Roberts, he was on that San Diego team that just couldn't hit. Look at that. He's got a 2.10 ERA, and he ends up 14-7. That's because the Padres couldn't score any runs. He's trading the offseason to the Astros. Johnny Callison after his real good years. Jim Lefevre's son, Ryan, ended up playing for the Gophers and a longtime announcer for the Royals. John Mayberry, good slugging first baseman after he was traded from the Astros to the Royals. Earl Williams, he might have been, I don't know if he was Rookie of the Year that year, but it's a good rookie. He's Stanley, and then this is the last page. So Willie Davis, good center fielder, hit over 300 many years, a lot of speed. And Forsch is the final card in that series. So that's all we're going to do for today. We will see you again hopefully next week, and I'll do the rest of this 1972 set. Have a great week. We'll see you.